microphone at. So let me run through this as quick as I possibly can. I use as a base because this is on Operation Sports as far as the conference realignment goes, and then I use ESPN afterwards. So what I'll do is first I'll realign the conferences based off of Operation Sports, and then I'll add in the team builder teams that aren't in the game, just whatever. So like the few teams that you would need to download is like Charlotte, Liberty Flames, Georgia Southern Eagles, I think Georgia Southern or Georgia State. I think it's Georgia Southern. Let's see. Make sure this to be on the safe side. It's here somewhere. Yeah, Liberty Flames, Charlotte 49ers. Where is it at? I have to go a little bit further down. Yeah, Georgia Southern Eagles. And the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers, I think is how you pronounce it. So those are the few teams. So I'm going to go through now. Just try to follow along to what I'm doing as far as all of this goes. And then I'll come back in voice-wise a little bit later on just to wrap it up. And then I might throw the sliders in there afterwards. All right, so now that that's done, if you need to, you can pause and slow it down whenever you need to. I went through it kind of fast. So now that I've done all that, now I'm going to go back through and I need to see which teams I need to add on through the conferences. So with this one, it is supposed to be 12 teams. I have, what, 11? What team did I forget to add? Cincinnati, UCF, Temple, South Florida, East Carolina, UConn. So UConn is actually back to the American Conference, I think. Let's see. Let's do a little bit of Googling. So actually, yeah. So they're leaving the American Conference to go to the Independent Conference. So there are two ways you can handle this. If you want them to have an East and a West division, you would add back UConn and it will change it back to East versus West. If you don't want it to be East versus West division, you can just leave it alone and leave it at that. I'm going to add them back just because I have rosters from this past season. So, let's see. UConn, where is it at? Are they spelled as UConn? Nah, I'm just gonna go to Independence, Connecticut. Alright, so change it back to Division A, Division B. And you just put East, West. My preference for American is to do it like this just because it's a little bit easier to deal with. And then Navy are supposed to be Navy are supposed to be in the West. Temple's in the East. UConn is also supposed to be in the East. Houston is in the West. Memphis is in the West. UCF is in the East. Like all the teams has managed to get switched up. Houston's in the West. Tulsa, Tulane are both in the West. Houston is in the West. SMU, Navy, and Memphis. So everything is right now. Okay. See, the ACC should be just fine. Everything's right. Yep. Louisville, Clemson, Wake Forest, Florida State. Yep, so everything's right there. Big 12 is going to be pretty normal. There's no East and West conference. It's just all one to go, so that'll be just fine. Big 10 will be a little bit different, but this should be correct too after I already swapped it. So everything's good there. Now we got the CUSA. So CUSA are a little weird. I say this because they have a team that needs to be added in. So the teams that I will replace are Notre Dame. You can't really replace them because they actually play. UMass actually plays. BYU plays. Idaho is now no longer a FBS team, if I'm not mistaken. So you can replace them with your team builder team. Army West Point still plays, and it's probably key to keep them in anyway because they play Navy and Air Force and everything like that year to year. So for CUSA, the first thing that has to be added in is the Charlotte 49ers. So I have them here somewhere. Let's see. Charlotte. There we go. Now, when you're downloading your team builder, my suggestion is to download whichever one is the most recent. And I say this because you want the more recent jerseys. The teams themselves will rebuild over time. It just depends on you. So over time, the teams will have to rebuild themselves and recruit. They won't probably have the most current, up-to-date rosters. But, you swap that out and you go for what it gives you. So they are in the East. All right, so let's look at the CUSA now. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. 7 and 7. So everything's here. Is right. Rice is there. Yep. So for the independents, this is one that you could kind of look at and wonder. With me, you could add the Liberty Flame. I say this because they were one of the better independent teams, but you also have to add the other schools that are currently missing. So let's go through the other ones first, make sure everything else is right, and then we'll go and we'll try to see what we can add. MAC conference should always be right. You shouldn't have to change anything. Mountain West should always be right. Shouldn't have to change much. If anything, Pac-12, same thing. Just leave it alone. SEC should be fine. I turned protected rivals off just to maintain the 8-game schedule, conference schedule. And then you get to the Sun Belt. Alright, so Sun Belt Conference, as you can see, is 7 teams. Need 10 for the entire conference. This is where I'll add in the last 2 team builders. I was going to add in the Liberty Flames, but I don't know if I need to, and I'm taking away from the independent teams that need to be added in anyway. So this is what I'll do. So the Idaho Vandals are here now since I took them out. So Coastal Carolina, did I already add them? I don't think I did, but I need to add Georgia Southern now. Where are they at? Did I scroll past it? Yep. Georgia Southern Eagles. And I'm going to replace them with probably New Mexico State, just because New Mexico State is kind of unneeded. Same thing with UMass is also unneeded. So I'm going to add in the rest of the teams first. So there's only one team. Yep, and Coastal Carolina is also in the Sun Belt Conference. So I'll replace them with New Mexico. As far as the independent teams, they really don't have any hold on the conferences, but I want my conferences to be as accurate as possible. So we'll move Coastal to the Sun Belt Conference, and then you'll move Georgia Southern to the Sun Belt Conference. And then from here, you should have, what's that, 4, 8, is that 9? Yeah, that's 9 teams. Should be 10. I'm missing one. Appalachian State. Okay. So, essentially what you would do is the same thing all the way here. Make sure you add in Appalachian State. And then after that, you should be just fine. So what I'll do is I'll add that in post all of this. But that's essentially everything that you need to get done when you're going into your franchise, your